Ridiculous questions.
Meticulously debated.
This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Citing all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, the monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light is my fire passes way.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. I am Ryan, and I'm going to be moderating today's episode.
This is Joe. I'll be one of the debaters.
And I'm Josh, and I'm going to be your other debater today.
Thank you, guys. Today we have one of the classic sports debates. Been debated for many years. It seems to be leaning one way these days, but I think we're gonna change it up a little bit. Well, we'll see how it goes. But we have the Manning versus Brady. Which quarterback would you rather give you the talk? So on today's episode, Joe and Josh are going to be debating whether you would rather have Tom Brady or Peyton Manning give you the birds and the bees.
This is, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but personally growing up, this was a hot topic on the playground.
This has potential, if not handled delicately, to be one of the most traumatic experiences of your life. But I'm pretty sure that I'll be able to prove by the end of tonight that my man will be able to deliver the best sex talk you've ever had.
So, Josh, I know that you have some interesting experiences with how you received the talk. If you would like to just give us a couple of details on that so we can have some background, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were talking before we were going to be recording this, and I mean, if I'm being honest, and maybe this isn't foreign to me, maybe it's something that everybody experiences, but I mean, I can easily point to three of the most vivid, painful, seared into my brain memories of my childhood involving receiving the sex talk.
Everybody keep in mind, this happened to him last week. That's when his dad gave him the talk for the first time. It was last week, so it's very fresh.
That's the most painful part about this is it's a fresh wound for me. But yeah, so I don't know, man. I was like 12 years old. My dad took me to, fittingly, we're talking about the NFL, took me to a Bengals and Steelers game. And on the way back, I'm just riding in the truck, minding my own damn business. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, I'm just looking out the window and I just hear, so you're going to be going through some changes soon.
Oh, the old changes. You know, he thought about this beforehand. You know that this trip, he planned it out. He was like, you know what? This is the time, we're going to go watch a football game. And yeah, this is when it's going to happen. He's been planning it for a long time.
Yeah, it's just like going on that first trip with your significant other, you're real excited. It's a special time, except it's like a father and son moment where you ruin their childhood and it ends forever. So he says that, and I don't honestly.
Did you just equate your first trip overnight with your significant other as to being equal to going on a trip with your dad where he gives you the sex talk? Buddy, we got to have another conversation.
I'm not saying it's a perfect analogy. I'm just trying my best.
We need to hear more details about this sex talk because I don't think it went very well.
Well, that's the problem is I can't really give you any other details because I swear my soul left my body and was just hovering over his F-150 on I-75.
Just blacked out.
I don't remember any of it. And I was just remember looking out the window and just being how much more do we need to slow down for me to be able to tuck and roll and just start a new life in Boone County? And I can't, ultimately, one thing I can remember is it clearly didn't go well because I got home, didn't say a word to my parents, just went to my room. And then a week later, I come home from school and there's just a book about the changes you're going through sitting on my bed.
Oh, man.
I imagine my dad got home and told her, this did not go well. We're going to have to try something else. And this was the solution. But I actually preferred this solution because it meant I didn't have to talk to anybody. And B, there were cartoon pictures inside of it that as a 12-year-old,
pretty
were
exciting.
much more interesting than they were educational.
And if you know Josh at all, we can all just appreciate the fact that he would much rather sit in his room by himself with a little book than be talking to really anyone about the situation.
Yeah, but that's not where it stopped. See, the problem for me was my sex talk and my relationship with my father and talking about these things stretched over the course of a very difficult 3-year period.
Oh my gosh.
That ultimately culminated in, I was dating a girl all through high school. You go down to the basement to watch a movie, like you do.
Wow.
And one time my dad... Listen,
we were all 15.
One time my dad came downstairs without flashing the lights first, which is rule number 1 if you're a parent. Caught us smooching on the couch, And so after that, she
were you
left.
horizontal?
No comment. Anyways, so that occurs, and then she leaves for the night, and I'm just sitting down there. I'm playing my brand new PSP. It was the day after Christmas. I'm real excited. And my dad comes and sits down, and I knew there was a problem when he didn't turn on the TV, and he just sat there.
Oh man!
And started patting his hands on the armrest, and I was like, "I'm getting that familiar feeling again."
Why did you not just walk out of the room?
I couldn't, man. I was playing Madden on my PSP. So my dad starts in. He goes, "So I just want to let you know that I came downstairs and saw you all, and you all didn't know I was down here." And I didn't move my PSP from my face. I just held it there for 45 minutes as my dad talked to me about the decisions I might have to make here in the coming years and how important they were to my life. And quite honestly, once again, I blacked out for the duration of that and really only came back in around the end when he said, and this is one continuous quote, mind you, "If you decide to go there, I just want to ask you to put a raincoat on the soldier." All right, me and your mother are going to Target. Would you like to go?
Oh my gosh. Just straight in. Just,
oh, buddy.
I think that was his ripcord. He was like, all right, I just got to once I get through this sentence.
No, he thought, I got him here. He's going to think I'm cool with this raincoat on the soldier thing here. I got him. This is it.
He's hip to the lingo of the kids, but I would like to hope that I'm not the only one that had some painful memories.
Joe. Do you have a story for us?
I know Joe's father, and I'm excited for this. I want to know about this.
All right, Joe, what you got?
All right, so I finally remember my talk because it was it's not a 3-parter. It happened in one night,
as most normal the talk conversations do. But
it was a train wreck. We cooked dinner, everything was fine. Then all of a sudden, we're cleaned up. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. My dad looks at my mom and my sisters. He's like, "Everybody go upstairs. I need to talk with Joseph." And I was like, "What did I do?" Because I thought I was in trouble.
Oh, you were.
So they all kind of just look at each other and then go upstairs. And he's like, "Have a seat." And I was like, "What the heck did I do?" And he's like, "Well, I know you've been having some girlfriends lately." I think I had one. And he's like, "I'm sure you've started thinking things and noticing things." And I was just like, "Dad, you are so late to this party, buddy." But he's like, I think it's time we have the talk." And I was like, and I remember thinking at the time, I already know, come on. But I kind of wanted to make him squirm and say it. So I was like, whatever. Okay, let's do it. And he goes, so I'm sitting on the couch and he goes, "As I'm sure you've noticed, there's male genitalia and female genitalia."
Oh my gosh. That's how he started?
And I looked him dead in the face and just started hysterically laughing in his face. Which, hindsight, that probably wasn't the best because he got so mad at me and started yelling about how I wasn't mature and it was obvious I couldn't handle this and all this and just went off. And finally I said, I just sat there and at the end I said, "Dad." He goes, "What?" I said, "Genitalia." And he started laughing. And I said, "See, it's a funny word." So I think he kind of got a hint, sat down, and we started talking again, and he starts going, and I let him go for like probably 5 minutes, and about halfway through, I can notice he's starting to get to maybe his midpoint, starting to get to the crescendo or the third act. I just looked at him, put my hand on his hand, and go, Dad, I know.
Oh, goes, snap.
You know? And I was like, yeah, no, I knew everything before you started. And he goes, how do you know? And I was like, I go to school and watch TV. And he goes, they probably taught you just as well as I would have. I think we've accomplished everything we need to accomplish tonight. You seem pretty understanding. I have a good idea. And I was like, sure. And he goes, okay. Well, I think we're good. And he goes upstairs and talks to my mom. The next day he comes up to me and goes, you've had some time to think about our discussion. You have any questions?
Oh my gosh.
My only question is, why did we have to have the talk that way? And he just looked at me and I was like,
man, you really drug him.
And then we went camping like,
oh my gosh,
a couple weeks later, and he's like bragging to everybody about how he's like, yeah, we had the talk, me and my son. And I just looked at him in the middle of this conversation. I went, hey Dad. And he goes, what? I went, genitalia. The good news is when I started writing some notes down for this, I realized I in no way know how that word is spelt. And I had to try 4 different times to spell that word.
Did you spell it so wrong that autocorrect couldn't pick it up?
Yeah, it just stayed red. And I right-clicked and it was like, no suggestions. And I was like, tell me something I don't know.
Joe probably spelled it like some lost form of Italian pasta.
Genitalia.
Genitalia.
So it sounds like you guys both have a pretty good frame of reference for what a bad situation would look like for this talk. Tonight we really want to dive in to what's good about it. What qualities are we looking for in a person who's giving the talk? You can use a perspective as Tom Brady or Peyton Manning is your father, or just their persona in general. I want to hear what you guys have to say. We're going to set this up a little bit like a courtroom drama. So I would like to hear some opening statements.
Can we get like we need like a nice like Law and Order kind of soundbite, I think, here. Hey everybody, it's Josh here. I just wanted to pop in because I don't know if you heard it, but I just made that joke about, the Law and Order sound and including that in here. And, we tried our best, but it seems like a lot of people have gotten sued for using that. So we just decided to not do that. So if you could just help us out, do us a solid here and do that sound in your car, in your house, on your own, just to get the feeling, we'd really appreciate it. So we're going to hop right back in here, but thanks for doing that. Appreciate it.
Y'all, I'm going to say something right now. The Law and Order theme freaking claps. I love that song, and I used to have it as a ringtone on my phone.
Law and Order theme claps.
He's not wrong.
I love that.
Hey, yeah, it's me, Josh, again. We also can't sing the theme song, apparently. So just imagine that too. We'll hop right back in here. Thanks.
Listen, everyone listening to this podcast right now is bobbing their head and playing the Law and Order theme out loud right now. All right, let's go.
So, Joe, we have you on Peyton Manning. So, give me your opening statement on the Peyton Manning sex talk.
All right, I was fortunate enough to be chosen to represent the sheriff, also known as Peyton Manning. I think with my opening talk, I'm just going to let you know who Peyton the man is. Not the football player, the man. The football player is only part of the persona that is Peyton the Sheriff Manning. Peyton grew up with 2 brothers. Eli is the one everyone knows about. He's the lesser of the 3, obviously. And he had another brother, but apparently it wasn't important enough for me to write his name down. So he has
I believe it's brother. Cooper. And I appreciate the fact that you apparently put Cooper ahead of Eli.
Yeah. But also didn't write his name down.
Yeah, nope. Peyton grew up in Louisiana. Football's real important down there. He is married with 2 children, 2 twins, 1 boy, 1 girl. So if he decides to give this talk at the same time, that's going to be real awkward. But he may get experience giving the talk to a male and a female, which could help you out a lot in a lot of situations.
Diversification.
He played at his college career at the University of Tennessee. Boo. And then he was drafted by the Colts with the first overall pick. Played there for 13 years. The Broncos for 3 years. And I would say most people, when they talk about Peyton Manning's football, not only as a compliment, but his ability to have a photographic memory. He said that when he was drafted by the Colts, he learned his playbook in 1 week. The entire playbook. He had it memorized in 1 week. And when he retired, a reporter asked him about a sequence at Tennessee 16 years prior to that question. And he laid out not only the plays they ran, the defensive schemes they fought, the timing, the route progression. He knew it all verbatim. So
it reminds me a little bit of LeBron, if you've ever seen him in a post game.
Yes, very similar.
It's incredible.
So the man is able to memorize things and recall them to perfection, which, that could be very important when you're having something like this. And also, Peyton's a man of faith, so he believes strongly in just a wholesome upbringing. So he's going to give you a well-rounded, because he played football too, and we all know what locker room talk is. He's going to be able to give you a little bit of both worlds in this conversation.
All right. So, I appreciate the opening statement. I like the intro. We've gotten a good feel for who Peyton the man is. Now, Josh was given the pretty boy of football, Tom Brady.
You may call him the pretty boy of football, but he's also an underdog of sorts. He came from a more meager background than Peyton Manning, who probably carries himself with, from birth has carried him. He was the son of an NFL quarterback. He has carried himself with an air of confidence his whole life. He came through. He probably got whatever he wanted through high school. But Tom Brady was, kind of a wanted recruit, made his way to Michigan, fought for the job, and eventually won it out. And the whole time he had the job, they wanted to replace him. However, he held on to that job and eventually was able to get drafted by the Patriots in the 6th round, pick 199, something that has driven him his whole career, made him want to be the best that he can be, and those around him be the best that they can be, which I'm sure he would bring into the talk. With that in mind, he has also been nothing but a winner. Won 6 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 NFL Most Valuable Players. However, he also has prowess off the field. He has one son that he had with his ex-girlfriend while he was dating his current wife, so that's good, right?
Interesting.
And he also has 2 children with Gisele Bündchen, his current wife, and they are both young. So he's going to have the opportunity to have a sex talk with both of his sons, of which I believe, based on the year, one should be coming up here soon, probably. So he's probably getting prepared. I think that puts him at an advantage at this particular point in time.
Excellent opening statement from Josh. Did you have anything else to intro us to Tom Brady?
No, I believe that'll. I'm excited to get into the meat of my debate because I really think that's where I'm going to take this one home.
All right, I think the next thing that we need to talk about is how they choose to approach it. What's the venue? What is their overall approach? So I want to go back to Joe. Let's start with Peyton Manning. Let's figure out what do we think his approach would be, and what knowledge that we know about Peyton Manning is going to give him the leg up as the superior choice.
Well, if anything, I think you could definitely say Peyton is always prepared in whatever he does, whether that be his time on the football field or how he's pivoted his career. I definitely think Peyton would want to go somewhere he's specific. So he can't access the locker room with his kids probably, but I'm thinking he's probably going to set him in his man cave, somewhere he feels at home and ready to go. He's going to want to definitely put them in a huddle type format. So either side by side, one right in front of each other. And he just wants to be able to reach them, to make eye contact and positively relay his information to them in a quickly and concise manner. And he's going to have material for them to go. There's going to be a playbook waiting for them when they enter the man cave laid out. It's going to have full color diagrams, pictures. It's going to have written, drawn out processes. And there's definitely, guys, I'm going to say it, Peyton has a penis and a vagina on a whiteboard with markers that he's going to show them how to score a touchdown, the pleasure zones, and areas to watch out for. Trouble spots.
So what you're saying, and he's done his scouting work.
Oh, he is prepared. He's ready. He's read multiple books. He's contacted some other people he called mentors, maybe his dad Archie, and he's getting details in. He's practiced this talk in the room. He wore the clothes that he's going to do it in while he's practicing. He set up blocking dummies as his practice. He's prepared for this moment.
Can we think about just the scenario of Peyton gives Eli a call? Peyton's a little bit older. He gives Eli a call and he says, my son's coming up on that time. Do you think we could practice? Because I really want to be, because Peyton was known for preparation. Can we just think about the conversation that Peyton and Eli had about, or will have, I guess. I don't know how old Peyton's kids are.
Ryan, I'm glad you asked this question, because when I did this research, I approached it from two different ways: Peyton the dad and Peyton the friend. Peyton the dad, he's going to be very reserved. He's going to give you the facts. He's going to tell you how to score. He's going to tell you to get there, tell you the process, and tell you the outcome. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to say, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what you could expect. This is my experience. Not with your mother, because that'd be weird. And not with anybody else, because that'd be weird too, because I've only been with your mother. But if I had it, this would have been my experience. And when he goes with Eli, he's going to be a little bit more lackadaisical. There's a joke that he's going to say he's good at this because he worked under center every day of his life when he went to work. He's very comfortable down there, and he's definitely going to give you play-by-play of what he would call his best, most crowning achievement. And there's a good chance if you get off topic, he's just going to go, Omaha, Omaha, Omaha. Get you right back on topic by calling an audible. He's going to get you. He's going to get his point across. He's going to pivot to how he gets there. And by God, Peyton Manning's going to score.
All right. I mean, I think that was well laid out, Josh.
May I ask a question? I'm
going to go back to you. Absolutely.
Of this side. You mentioned that he's worked a lot under center. Are you suggesting that he practiced on Jeff Saturday?
Listen, if there was a man in the NFL that I was going to have to practice this on and get intimate knowledge of, Jeff Saturday is probably up there. I mean, he's like a big teddy bear.
Oh,
that's all I needed.
I don't think we're gonna explore that avenue on this episode. So I would like to. I would actually like to hear. I would prefer to hear about Tom Brady giving the sex talk than whatever Joe was about to talk about.
Yeah. So here's what I think Tom Brady would do. Now, Tom Brady, when you watch him in interviews, he's a pretty reserved guy, certainly intense, but definitely reserved. And he always seems like he's trying to put everybody into the best possible situation they can be in for success. So I'm thinking he's going to save the talk for when they're summering in Big Sky, Montana on their ranch. And he's going to take his son down to, I am almost certain he's got a room that is nothing but wooden walls, wooden floors, and leather recliners and chairs. Absolutely no doubt in my mind.
Just that musky smell.
A man room.
Leather.
It's not a man cave. It's not a man cave.
Since when you're getting this talk, you definitely want to smell musk of all smells.
You do. It gives you a comfort. So he's going to take his son down there and he's going to sit him down into a nice, comfortable leather chair, and he's just going to level with him man to man, mano a mano, and he's going to delicately explain the process to his son. He's going to use all the correct terms because he is a bookworm. He knows the inside outs of the playbook. He's done that from day one until today. He is obsessive about his process. So I'm certain he's got a TB12 on how to execute sex well and respect people while doing it. And I just think it's going to be a much more relaxing atmosphere that makes you feel more comfortable as you're having to have this talk. And I feel like that's a big advantage for Tom Brady. Big Sky, Montana. There are worse places to hear about genitalia.
Is this a real thing? Is that where he summers? Do you know this?
That is where he summers. Yes, Ryan. I did the research on this one.
Listen, we're meticulous. All right, so I want to have a chance for something we may continue to do on this show, maybe not. But first, I would like for us to step into the moderator's office. Let's pay some bills, and then we'll come back. We'll wrap this thing up.
All right, let's do it. I'm looking forward to seeing your office.
All right, so here we are. As you can see, it's kind of scary because Josh actually perfectly described my moderator's office when he was talking
about judge's quarters back here.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of wood and leather. I mean,
so comfortable in here. This is much better than mine. Where did you buy this furniture? Are we allowed to have furniture in our offices?
Wayfair. Yeah. You should have furniture. Josh, we're not going to go over this again.
Are these cigars?
Yes. In my humidor.
I'm going to light one of these babies up.
I also have some rye bourbons for your pleasure. So we don't have any sponsors this week, but
damn it! Wait, you bring me in?
Listen, I thought The Office was good enough.
This is still a better experience than last week.
We are deeply in debt because it did cost me about $20,000 to make this room.
You spent $20,000 on Wayfair?
Among other things.
Website?
They won't give us an advertisement?
So we listen, I tried. I told him I was spending a lot of money, but it was after I had already spent it. So
No. Listen, I'm not going to let you seduce me into letting you slide this time because you all, I don't know if you recall what happened last week, but I was murdered
in your empty, sad room.
Look,
both of you are useless.
It may be empty and sad, but I am saving us money, whereas you, sir, have put us into extremely deep debt that we're not going to be able to climb out of.
Listen, I know the sponsors will come. They're going to come, and this room will pay off because they're going to see the sort of high class that this podcast brings, and just the sort of atmosphere that we want to create.
Is that incense? Are you burning incense right now?
Well, it's scented wood.
Got it. Yeah, I can't even do this. I'm out of here.
Well, hold on, Josh. Before you leave, I'm glad you got you back here. I want to take this opportunity to sit down and tell you about what happens when a man loves a woman.
No, we're not doing this here. I've been through this too many times.
Come back. No. Come on.
Put down the PSP, Josh.
I can't believe you all.
Listen, I think the investment is going to pay off because maybe we'll get a sponsorship and then they'll just pay me back.
No, here's what I think is happening. I think you're trying to throw me off my game. You took me in the moderator's office before I get into the crux of my argument here just to throw me off. This is not fair.
I mean, that was my intention to try and shake you guys up. But I would like to introduce a possible recurring segment. And this is what I would like to call cross-examination. So I would like each of you to maybe take a moment, consider your opponent. Think of the weakness that they have. Think of the things that make them not so suited for this situation. And I want you to ask each other questions. I want you to play moderator for a moment and do what you can to dismantle the other's argument. Whoever would like to start, go ahead.
I'm ready.
No, I got this.
Okay, go ahead, princess.
Okay. All right. So, Joe, I believe you described Peyton as, being someone with a lighter personality that's going to make them feel comfortable and probably have some drawings and try to bring some humor into the situation. Would I be correct?
That's correct.
Now, would you also say that you had a similar approach per your story earlier, and that was largely ineffective because you found the situation funny and you all laughed throughout while he got more and more angry?
Well, the brevity allowed him to come down from the anger. Once he realized that this was a situation, we're both two grown adults and we can handle this. We had a good common conversation where eventually I just cut him off and said, I already know what we're talking about. But had you listened to the first part of my story when I told you what happened when he was angry and then he came down off the anger after I said the word genitalia, we were fine after that and had the conversation. So, but go ahead with your next argument.
How does the explicit tag work with the word genitalia? Because I think we've now said it more than 7 times.
I think it's clinical. I think it's fair game. All right, Joe, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, I have a question. if a man who claims to be my father is coming to me and giving me a talk about sex, I'm going to have 2 questions at the start. A, I'm going to ask him why he kissed me on the mouth before we had this conversation, because that's weird. Second, I'm going to say, you preached to me that this is a man loves a woman and this is how you express yourself. Why did you express yourself with another woman when you had a baby with my last mother?
Well, that's a pretty simple answer. The answer to the first one is, that as a father, you love your son and you want to express that love to them. And while it might be uncommon, it's, something that some people do to express their feelings to those that they're related to. Now, to your second question, you're going to make decisions where you're going to love somebody and you're going to want to do things with them to express that love. And while you should be safe, sometimes you just make assumptions that things are going to be okay and they end up not being. But that doesn't mean that you stop loving that person and that child and you keep them in your family, just like I've kept you in this family. You're part of our family. It's a very simple answer, Joe.
Well, the therapy bills would say otherwise, but
the good thing is I have a ton of money if I'm Tom Brady, and therapy will be
that you do
well paid for.
All right. I found benefit in that segment. I think it might be coming back in the near future. So we have come to the point that I would like to call the closing argument. You have both presented your cases. I have taken in the cross-examination. I have taken in all of the facts that you've presented. I'm going to go first to Josh. I want you to tell me definitively your main point. What makes Tom Brady, what makes Peyton Manning the better choice for the birds and the bees?
All right, I'll take off here. So, in looking at what makes for a good sex talk, I decided to do a little research and try to find some resources that would point us in the right direction on how we can judge these people. So I found an article that explained several tips for, how to give the sex talk appropriately. And I think that they all apply really well to Tom Brady. So first, it explains that when you're having a sex talk, you should start by taking the lead. Tom Brady is a born leader. Tom Brady has been a leader from day one that he stepped into the Patriots to the day he went out and joined the Buccaneers and took over as their leader.
To the day he left.
Now, number 2, remain creative. Tom Brady, while he may not be the most creative quarterback in the NFL, he has found a way to continue to rebuild his body over time and grow on his game so that he can remain relevant for almost 20 years. He is...
Yeah, just look at him run.
The height of creativity. Listen, I'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay.
Third, practice makes perfect. Tom Brady... Listen, he is someone who has practiced plenty, as we've discussed, but he'll continue to grow. He's watching film. As we know, he's spying on others and watching their film. Yikes. He's working through his playbook. He knows what to do. Look, he knows what to do and how to improve his game so that he can pass that information along to those that he loves. And then lastly is be confident. No one is more confident than Tom Brady. So when you're looking at those, I think you can just already tell that he would be the ideal person to give a sex talk, but it does not stop there. I mean, look at you mentioned him running, but look at those stats. 40-yard dash at the combine, 5.28 seconds, second lowest of any QB at the combine. Vertical jump, 24.5 inches. I've got a lot of weight on that man, and I bet I could do that. Now, look, he went from that, where he is a poor athlete and it cost him in the draft, to where he's able to achieve the highest level of success. He knows how to get so much out of so little. And when it comes to your sexual life, that it seems like a very important lesson to learn. And then lastly, he has been peppering his own comments on how to have a how to have a successful sexual life through his media interviews. I just want to read a couple quotes here for you, just so you can kind of get an idea for the type of knowledge that he's dropping. So he says, I have a memory and I can just eliminate mistakes when they come up because I've already made them. He's going to be able to think back to all the things that he's done in his life, remember those, and pass along that knowledge to his children. On top of that, if he makes any mistakes in the first sex talk, he will correct those with his second son. I have no doubts about that. Also in an interview one time, he said, you want to know which ring is my favorite? The next one. He's clearly talking about his experience with premarital sex and how it affected him and how you need to wait for that ring in order to have that. And then lastly, he said, too often in life, something happens and we blame other people for us not being happy or satisfied or fulfilled. So the point is, we all have choices, and we make the choice to accept people or situations or to not accept situations. He's saying, if you're not satisfied with your sex life and your relationship, maybe it's a you problem. Maybe you need to look inside yourself and learn why you're making so many mistakes in that relationship, and you fix them. And now, lastly, what I think is perhaps the most important piece is that, the sex talk that Tom Brady would give you is going to be sufficient, give you everything you need, and satisfy your curiosities and what you've been trying to figure out as you've grown. You have to have someone who's going to tell you the real stuff. That cool uncle that's going to pull you aside the family gathering, natty light in hand, and he's going to say, listen, here's what me and Tanya did under the bleachers after my game sophomore year. And he's going to give you all that kind of knowledge that you need. And the perfect person who can give you that kind of knowledge is Uncle Gronk. Tom Brady's right-hand man, New England to Tampa Bay. Gronk's going to be around. That man's lived a life. He went to college and got wild. He went to the pros and got wild. He's been on party boats during the summers and who knows where else he's been. And he's got that knowledge that you're not going to get from your father, but you are going to get from your cool uncle. And I think that duo right there leads to the most comprehensive, the most authoritative, and the absolute best sex talk that a child could get. I rest my case. Joe?
I'll say this. You made some compelling statements in that argument. But if you go back and look at the totality of what you said today, let's take a look at your own personal sex talk. Why was it bad? You were always uncomfortable. You were always put in a situation that you weren't ready for and were uncomfortable. If you look at Peyton the person, the man exudes confidence. He exudes certain bravado. He finds a way to relate to anyone. Peyton is the common man. Tom Brady does not possess that ability. He wears turtlenecks. His wife is Giselle. He calls himself TB12. He doesn't have the ability to relate to the common person. Peyton does. So when it comes to his kids, Peyton is going to do whatever he can, his kids, his friends, whoever, to put them in a situation not only for success, but for comfort. He's going to lay it out to them, give them concise information. He's going to give them all of the information, but he's going to do it in a loving way, not like a teacher, but like a friend, like a mentor. He's going to present his argument of this is what it is. I have a relationship with your mom for a long time, and I have that because it's based on love. And this is how we got here. There's going to be times in your life that's confusing. You may have to call audibles. You may have to change. And I'm always here to talk to you. But he's going to make sure above all else, Peyton is ready and Peyton is comfortable and prepared. And he's going to make you comfortable in that situation. He's not going to just lay it out there. He's going to teach you. He's not going to talk to you. And you want to talk about uncles? How about an actual uncle? You have Uncle Eli, someone who's grown up, learned from Peyton, who has been in similar situations in life, but also been in different situations in life that can relay stuff. Hey, man, I went through struggles where my team wasn't good, and then we beat Tom Brady and these Patriot idiots on their undefeated season. Yeah, okay, bring that up. We beat Gronk and Tom Brady, catching it off our helmet. Yeah, my dude shot himself after that, but you know what? I led my team to victory. We won. I represented myself in a way. And let's go back to comfort. You gonna be more comfortable with Gronk, who's pulling you aside, smelling like booze and hookers, or are you gonna be someone who, with your uncle, wearing this nice checkerboard shirt, pulling you in tight, telling you he loves you, and answering any question you have? So when it comes down to it, you can go with Tom, who's judgmental, new age, and says things that you don't understand and would constantly want to make jokes that only he gets and laugh at him and then look at you like you're crazy for not laughing at your jokes? Or are you going to go with a man who loves you, cares for you, will give you the shirt off his back, very humanitarian, and would just want to make sure that he makes you as comfortable as possible in the situation and prepares you to succeed in life and to do better than him? That is what Peyton Manning would do. That is why Peyton Manning should give you the talk.
All right. I appreciate each of your dedication and your meticulously researched debates. Unfortunately, only one can win, so we have now reached the decision. I came into this and I was definitely leaning towards one person that I personally would prefer to give the talk, but I tried to objectify it. I tried to take away that aspect, the personal aspect, and I tried to focus on the facts that you have presented, and the closing arguments really are what swayed me. And with that being said, I have to go with the sheriff, Peyton Manning, Joe Robinson.
Undefeated, baby. Undefeated. I'm flexing on you both right now.
The main reason was the final point that he made about making you comfortable, because he used the real life experience that Josh had and that Joe had about being uncomfortable, and he turned it on its head, and he was able to make the point that I do believe the sheriff would make you more comfortable. Josh, it was well fought.
Listen, I felt confident about that. I feel like because of my performance last week in the moderator's office, this has been snaked from me. So I'm going to come back next time prepared to finally get off the losing streak here for the people that are not Joe on this podcast.
We have now reached the end of our debate for this week. So first, I would like to thank all of the listeners out there. If you're listening to this, we appreciate you. Please follow us on all the social medias at TMIW Pod, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And also make sure you're using those hashtags to tell Ryan and Joe how right I was in this one and how Tom Brady was the better pick to get the sex talk instead of Peyton Manning or whatever other joker they wanted to put him up against.
Or if you have a suggestion for an NFL player you would prefer, please let us know.
Yes, definitely, because I'm sure there's probably one better than the two we picked. But don't forget, if you do use hashtag TMIWPod and mention our show, there's a good chance you'll get a shout-out on next week's show. We can give you some love for doing that, just helping us out. And if you have any suggestions of shows you would never think you'd want to hear and probably don't care to hear, but would probably be funny, send them our way. We'll love it. We're all up for getting her done and doing some new things.
I want to pop in here on that point also. And if you go to tmiwpod.com, there's now a contact us section where you can shoot us a little email and give us a little tipski on a good topic that we can cover.
I would also like to say it is vitally important at the beginning of a podcast to subscribe and give us a rating, give us a review. We would really appreciate it. We really just want to entertain you guys and try to make it as fun as possible. I would like to thank Isle of 8 for the use of our theme song, Jean Jacket. You can check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere you can find good music.
Yes, thank you all so much. Please, if you get a chance, 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. And I just want to say it's so cool that people would take the opportunity to listen to us. I mean, I'm just a bumbling idiot, and it's just very cool that you all would give us your time to hear us talk about stupid things. It just means a lot to me, and I think the rest of us.
And please don't leave anything less than 5 stars and hurt my feelings, because I don't know that I'm emotionally stable enough to handle that.
You're definitely not. As always, there's one winner, but we're all losers. Later, losers.
See ya.
Go Cates.